Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of It's Not All Rainbows. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodman. I'm a certified trauma recovery coach, and I'm also a survivor of abuse in a queer relationship. I'm here to help you figure out what's really going on in your relationship to help get you out and on the road to recovery. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how a lot of times we think the abuse is directed only at the partner in a domestic violence situation. Obviously, this is very specific to, your one parent abusing your other parent or you being abused as a parent or whatever. This isn't about, your friend or your sibling or something like that. I try to keep my abuse content to like this could be anybody, but in these situations, when we're talking about a domestic violence, a domestic abuse, coercive control type situation in like a family aspect, we think that the abuse can be targeted towards one person. But today I want to talk about how if they're abusing one person in the home, they're abusing everyone in the home. This is something I'm very passionate about. This is something I've talked about a fair amount. I have made episodes in the past about the way my child experienced abuse, the way my child was used as a pawn, what that can look like. I've talked about Pip, who's just sat down on the couch next to me, curled up in a ball, and how she was used as a pawn. Right down to my dog's ashes, my other dog's ashes being used as a bargaining chip, a way to threaten me, control me, all of that stuff. So we've already talked about this before. We've already sort of, hashed out what these kinds of things can look like, but I want to talk about it a bit more. So before we do that, I will talk about my struggles and successes. A struggle this week is that I'm sick. You might be able to hear it in my voice. I'm a little bit funky. It's been going on for a couple days, not feeling great, and also kind of in a phase where I'm trying to catch up financially because that company, I kind of mentioned this before, a company that I worked for 8 weeks has decided not to pay me. I'm trying to pursue it, but it's not fun to have to pursue things legally. So really trying to catch up financially right now, and I'm sick, but that's okay. I will get through it. And then a success is, no, I guess a success is that I am still working and I'm still able to earn money, even though that was a huge setback. Like I was able to quickly pick up some other work and kind of start to try to get some money flowing in so that I wouldn't get behind on anything. Um, and that is a big success because we all know money is can be so yucky and it's a really big stressor for a lot of us. So, okay, let's talk about again the way that I'm going to put it is if they abuse one in the home, they abuse all in the home. Like I said, a lot of times we think the abuse was only targeted at me, or it is only targeted at me because a lot of times when we're home with abusive people and the kids are around, we're shielding the kids from the abuse, we're removing them from situations, we're trying to monitor the situation, we're doing all of this stuff. Same with the pets. You're looking at it, it's like it's a pet, it's okay as long as they're not like physically harming the pet, as long as like, I'm here to take care of the pet, things like that. It's just towards me. And again, that's not us being like, it's okay, they're just abusing me, it's fine. That's not at all. But when you're in it and you have not been able to get out yet, it's kind of a comfort to you that you're like, I can handle this, even though I can't. At least it's just me. At least it's only thus far been targeted at me. I'm an adult. These little kiddos are innocent, or these animals are innocent, or whatever. You know, if they cross a line, like that's going to be when I get out. Obviously, we don't really want to wait until they do cross the line with a child or an animal. But a lot of times when you're in it, even if it's not like a rational thought, you're kind of like, okay, it's just being targeted towards me. So, and again, you're probably thinking that it's about you because if they're not harming anyone else, you're the problem, right? And they do kind of tend to keep it that way too, because if they're only harming you and they're only treating you poorly, it's your fault. It's your behavior, something wrong with you, you're too sensitive, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is that if you, and I'm gonna say you as the mother, right? I will say it again, anyone can be abusive, any gender, any role, any whatever can be abusive, but in my situation, I was the mother of a child. I was being abused. And this is one of the toughest pills to swallow as a survivor of abuse is that the child was also experiencing the abuse that I was experiencing. One, I understood that they're being used as a pawn to abuse me. Um, they are witnessing you not doing well, even if they're really small. Like a lot of times we think they're so small, they're not going to remember this. And before I say more here, this is not to guilt you. This is not to make you feel bad. I shared this on TikTok and someone was like, how's that supposed to make me feel better? It's not supposed to make you feel better. This episode is not to make you feel better. It's not to give you comfort in any way. That's not what this is about, because unfortunately, there's no way for me to do that with this topic, but it is to educate you and it is to hopefully empower you because, again, as I was saying, it is one of the toughest pills to swallow to know that the innocent little kids and animals and everyone around you, they are suffering too. They're struggling too. They're not inadvertently, they are being abused by proxy. You are being abused. They are seeing it. They are feeling it. You, again, I'm the mom, so I'm going to say you're a mom and you are losing your sparkle. You are losing your energy. You're not sleeping at night. You're walking on eggshells. You're miserable. You're tired. You're not able to be present with them. Again, this doesn't make you feel guilty because I'll tell you what, when I think about those times in my life, that time in my life when I was that person and how hard I tried to be present with him and to give him these times where that person wasn't around us and laugh with him and play with him and have him in nature and all this stuff. Like I fought so hard to still be that for him and to shield him from what was going on. And also, I do feel so guilty that that was a part of his life. That was a part of his upbringing. That's a part of his story too. Um, we can't go back, we can't fix it. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is to one, to help you realize that, if you left or if you're trying to leave, you are doing the right thing because they are experiencing abuse again by proxy, hopefully. Some of them might be experiencing abuse further than that. They might actually be, it. They're being gaslit, they're being manipulated, they're being stonewalled, they're being shut down right, left, they're being all these things. Like they're probably not being treated that well, or if they are, it's fake. They never know if like does that parent or does that person love me because it's like really hot and cold with them. Like they're experiencing it too probably. um and it's also too, like, for anyone who's listening to this who doesn't have kids, or maybe you know somebody who went through something like this, I need you to understand that the abuse, the coercive control that people experience when they're in these types of quote unquote relationships is so much worse than you think it is, right? Because as a society, we look at it and we're like, well, yeah, like he wasn't a good partner, she wasn't a good partner, but they broke up and like the kids are doing okay, and like, but like they never did anything to the kids. It was only towards the mom. It was like blah, blah, blah. Like we're out here trying to like minimize this stuff. It is so much worse than we as a society have made it out to be. Because the truth of the matter is that anyone who's doing this kind of behavior, coercive controllers, abusive people, should be held accountable, not just for the horrible abuse that they have done to their quote unquote partner, but for any child that is around them, for any animal that is around them, because it's child abuse and it's pet abuse. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. And a lot of people are like, it's not that serious, or like, whatever. It is that serious because a lot of people are suffering at the hands of abusive people, and we need to take it seriously. And like I said, some people are going to feel bad because they're like, I can't just leave. And, I don't want my kids to be left with this person. And I totally get that. But my hope is that with this information, again, it's not supposed to come for you. You're not supposed to be like, at least it wasn't just me. It sucks. It's so hard. But I hope that that knowledge, like if you're still telling yourself, oh, it's only against me or it was only against me, again, very hard pill to swallow. But in my opinion and in my experience, it was very helpful for my healing. I was able to shut the door on that person, go cold turkey, no contact, stay no contact, because I knew, I was like, at that point, I was like, this wasn't just the abuse that I was experiencing. The pet was abused. The kid was abused. The other people around me were being abused, even though they're not like, those people aren't walking around every day like, yeah, I had my, like my son's dad, like he would probably hate me for saying this, but he experienced the abuse as well. He was used as a pawn. He was used as a way to argue, or, they would try to like get best friends with him and then complain about him and do all this stuff. And like his schedule was very much controlled by my abuser and all this stuff. He was experiencing the abuse too. He just didn't know and probably wouldn't want to admit it. So, again, the whole point of all of this is to know that if someone is abusing someone in their space, there are ripples. And on different levels, those ripples are going to affect, excuse me, anyone else who's around. Be it a human, be it an animal. Those Animals can be very much in danger when abusive people are around. Kids can be very much in danger, like physical danger, when abusive people are around. Obviously, the adult that's being abused can be in physical danger, but it's not just that. It is all encompassing. And, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself. Hold on to this knowledge. Know that you don't want it to happen anymore, right? And that's not to say, I know people will say, well, like, what does it mean? Like, you never wanted it to happen. But it can be so empowering to be like, okay, this is the reality of the situation. Because again, I would also tell myself, he was safe. I was keeping him safe. He wasn't experiencing anything, but he was. He absolutely was. And it's not okay. And like I said, if I had a magic wand and all of these people who have ever treated others in the way that my abuser and your abuser, our abusers have treated other people, if I could make it so that they were served, we were served justice for what they did, I absolutely would. And I'm not the kind of person who's over here just like my abuser deserves X, Y, Z, but like none of these people should be out on the streets with access to people, right? They should not be able to keep doing what they're doing. So anyway, I know this was kind of like a random jumble of my thoughts, um, but I just wanted to get that out there, and I hope this is helpful or eye-opening or validating or whatever you need it to be. That's all I have for now. It's a little bit of a shorter episode, um, but I do want to say that I am offering coaching again. If you want to work with me and you don't see a time that works for you on my website, which is lindsaygoodman.com, thelindsaygoodman.com, my goodness. Please reach out to me, DM me, and just say, hey, I want to work with you, but I don't see a time that works for me. Is there another time you're available? And I will try to make it work. Other than that, go do something nice for yourself, go drink some water, and I will be back next week with more.